Welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Today, we're going to meet with Carey Rouse, a man who shifted gears from selling CBD gummies to racing cars. We'll learn about his relentless pursuit of passion and adrenaline-filled adventures on the track, and a whole lot more. Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. This is going to be fun. This is a guy who's made a U-turn, and I can't wait to hear about it. I interviewed Carey Rouse months ago. Might have been a year. I don't know. And he was doing a CBD gummy business for, like older athletes that, your knees start to hurt, especially if you're a bicyclist. You're kind of on those knees, and these things were amazing. But we've taken a turn. So, Carey, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to hear what you're up to. And just introduce yourself and tell us briefly what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's good to talk to you again and see you. So all these things that I'm doing are following a passion of mine. And really, the CBD business was about fitness and what are the things that I use to help keep my fitness where I want it to be, and the products that help me do that. And that's kind of why I started down that path. I discovered something after I started it. It's just hard to advertise CBD products.
Yes.
And so it's very difficult to get people to know that you exist. Now, there's all kinds of ways that you can still make that happen. Influencer marketing and things like that. But all the efforts I was doing was just wasting more money, spending more time. And I decided to kind of do an exercise to think about what really makes me happy. Like, what can I really do for the rest of my life? Who do I want to hang out with for the rest of my life? And it really boiled down to two groups of people, entrepreneurs and the racing community. And what I mean by that is motorsport racing. So I do race cars. I've been on a hiatus for about a year because I'm focusing all my money and my time on trying to launch a business. But I still made plenty of friends doing that. I love the community, and so I knew that had to be part of it. And I've also was struggling with content for social media because it just seemed like a chore. I mean, even though I'm kind of documenting my journey, there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't, and it was just wearing me out. Like,
it's kind of like, I got to go shoot, I got to do video for this. Instead of doing the thing, all right, now I got to do a video about this too. Yeah.
So I decided that what I'm going to do is start a podcast and YouTube channel called Driven to Compete. And I mean, you can search for that for the website. The website will give you a link to the YouTube, and then I'm on all the major podcast publishers. And I decided that I would start interviewing the people that I hang out with and share their stories with others and others in the racing community and fans of the racing community. And, I'm a member of the SCCA, so I started with that. And I have a lot of friends I've raced with and against, so I started with them. But it is amazing how easy it is to approach somebody and ask them if they'll want to be a guest on your podcast related to subject A. And, in my case, it was racing, and they're racers, and why not?
Yeah. And they're probably the first person who's ever asked them too, right?
In some cases, yes. I had a couple of those who were like, man, this is cool. And I'm like, well, it's cool for me too. So I am different than most of the other podcast people that I've seen. One is because I'm doing video and podcast. Video makes it so much more complicated.
Yes.
There's so much more editing. The files are so big. It takes so long. that's part of the problem. But I decided I was going to do that, and I had no idea how many I would do. So I started off. I was like, okay, I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna drive 2,000 miles to a race of people that I know and see how many I can interview. I'm like, if I can just get one on my first weekend, I'll be good. Like if I average once a week, I can have one episode a week. And I went and I got like 4 or 5. And then the next weekend, I got like 4 or 5. And so that didn't stop. And before I knew it, I was like, man, I have got a backlog of like, if I do it once a week, I have a backlog for like 5 months.
Yeah, that's great.
5 months. So I started releasing 2 a week. And then I did the math after 1 week. It's like, oh, I've got to do more. So I just
daily show.
Yeah, I started releasing 4 a week. So that's what I do right now. And I still have a backlog to December 8th.
Wow. That's awesome.
So I've done, in terms of the number of people that I've interviewed 145 people in 6 months.
Jeez.
And have completely finished editing all those and have them uploaded, just kind of like unpublished, ready to turn the switch. So very proud of that. But, in order to do this, I started off in my Mustang. It is so hard to sleep in your Mustang.
They're not built for sleeping.
No, it's fun for the drive, but when I get there, it's torture. Tracks, they have showers, they have bathrooms, but the sleeping is, you have to kind of wing it. So all it took was 1 weekend of me trying to sleep at a track in my car, and I was like, there's just
not doing this.
So I decided
the gummies.
Yeah. So I decided I need something just a little bit better that I could sleep comfortably in, or just go all out.
Yeah.
And the decision was whether or not I could basically get an RV trailer and pull it behind a truck. That's going all out. Or I was going to stay living where I was and get a little mattress van, and I could sleep in that. Because I need something that I could sit in a chair in front of a desk and work. Because I spend a ton of time at the computer, even though I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I decided to go all out. So I sold the Mustang.
Oh!
So I sold the Mustang, got a pickup truck, bought an RV trailer. So wow. I did that. I traveled around the U.S. I haven't been to the West Coast, but I've been everywhere else, probably multiple times. And it's just amazing the relationships you build with people. Like I have a situation now where there are some tracks in the nation, I just have an email. I'm like, hey, can I get free RV hookups? And they're like, yeah, you're good. And so I've started going to different racing associations. SCCA was one, it's amateur. WRL is amateur, but it's a different type of racing. SRO is pro, I've been to a lot of those. And there's IMSA, which I've not been to. I want to get to some of those. So, and I've interviewed everybody from the crew to the owners, and drivers, everybody in between. And you have to stay really flexible. So my deal is I go to the tracks and I meet people in their trailer or beside their trailer or in my RV. And so my equipment is for just complete mobility.
Yeah.
And that just makes more editing for me at the end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But there's some things I have to do to make sure the sound's good because you're at a racetrack. So you got it.
A little noisy.
So I've been doing that and slowly building my audience. It's accelerating some, but I told myself that I need to do this for a year before even thinking about how, is this doing good or not? Because at some point in time, you're going to hit that hockey stick and it's going to grow beyond the whole linear stuff that's been doing so far.
Yeah.
So And so I'm throwing in different things to kind of document my journey. I've got some shorts in there, and that kind of helps build some following. But after traveling for 3 months in the RV trailer, it would just get destroyed from one track to another. Yeah. And I'd spend a half a day or a full day fixing stuff before being able to work.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to get any better either. So I decided that I needed something more. It was better built. And living in an RV trailer for 3 months, I realized I could downsize. There was just still too much room for me, too much stuff. So I decided to sell the truck, buy a cargo van, a Ford Transit 250 high roof extended, which is the biggest one they make. And my RV's up for sale right now. So hopefully that'll be sold here in the next month or two. Yeah. But so I'm transitioning, but it's just a cargo van.
That's easy.
You can't live in it.
Right. So, oh no, that's true. Oh crap. Oh my God.
So I am diving deep into the YouTube videos of van life and things like that. And so what I have done, and talk about like going to the great outdoors.
Yeah.
I decided that I needed no distractions. So I found a cabin on a 10-acre farm, an hour and a half away from anybody I know. And that's where I'm at. And I got a place to work on my van in a barn. I've got tools, and I'm ordering stuff left and right. It does take longer to get here because but so what it's kind of morphed into is there'll be a whole lot of van life content that I'm creating. So I'm used to putting stuff out. So 1 per day is what I do for that. And then I still have a backlog of interviews. So I'm still putting out 4 per week of that.
Yeah.
And then
same channel, or is it a different channel, like the van life stuff? And it's all the same.
Well, it is the same channel. So it's all under Driven to Compete. Mm-hmm. And I have found that a lot of people that are racers understand the whole, living on the road and sleeping in a camper. All of them do that. Yeah. So this works well for the audience I already have.
Oh, that's
but then the pure van life people, they're coming in now, and there's not a whole lot of, there's racing stuff that shows up, but I'm probably going to end up eventually drawing more people with the van life thing.
That's amazing.
But there's a pretty good crossover between the groups.
Okay.
I purposely, because I jumped the gun on the CBD, I thought of the solution. CBD. Now let's put the company together and let's try to sell it. No, I don't want to do that. So this time I'm focusing on my audience, and it is morphing. So I want to see what it grows into and then serve that audience.
Beautiful.
But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until I've been doing it for a year to really evaluate, because I wouldn't have ever dreamt that 3 months ago, you would have said, oh, yeah, you're going to be building a van at somebody's farm. There's no way. But it feels right. I'm learning a lot, having fun. So I want to see where it morphs and build the audience as I go, and then find a way to serve that audience. And there's other benefits too. Like if I build a big enough audience, people are going to want to pay to reach my audience just by having a big audience. So I'm not big yet, but I feel like it could get there.
Yeah. Well, racing alone is huge. Van life is huge. So having the best of both worlds. And it's funny, I hadn't really thought of that, but I do know, I have known a couple of racers, and same thing. They're on the road all the time. And I don't know what they did for housing, but it's a brilliant idea. Just convert a van and live in that. If you're going to be out on the road, this is an all-consuming type of passion to have. You're traveling, you're going. So mine as well, I think you got a lot of potential. Are you having the time of your life with this?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm having a good time. And There's other plans I have too that could evolve. I've done some walking tours of the tracks I'm on, and then sometimes of the community with the track. And what I might start doing is, if I'm going to be on the road all the time, I might start doing really good walking tours of like tourist attractions or things like that.
Yeah.
And it's a reason for me to get out to see them, because I know how I'm just going to try to work from one location to another. Why not get out and enjoy some of the things that people see and film it? There's plenty of other people out there doing that same thing, but it's kind of a dual reason for me. It's one, so I do get to enjoy those things, and two, I can share that and maybe grow a different part of my audience.
Oh, sure.
That may be a different channel, but that's not primary for me right now. It's really focusing on, number one priority is getting this van done. It's probably going to take me through January. Okay. And then I want to be ready to hit the road and see as many tracks and people on the track as I can for the next year.
I'm so excited for you. This sounds amazing. So I used to live near Bristol. And so, of course, that's a fantastic. I mean, granted, it's NASCAR, but there is the Thunder Valley behind it. So,
well, and it's funny you say that. That was one of the locations I went to.
Nice.
Yeah, and I went to it for a rather large SCCA autocross event. So racing through cones on cement. And while I was there, I got introduced to the announcer who is announcing for the world's largest junior drag racing competition.
Wow.
And so I interviewed him at Thunder Valley.
Nice.
And, so yeah, Bristol's beautiful. I mean, I was so blown away.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's this little tiny sleepy town in the Appalachians. You got Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee. You cross the road, you just cross the state line. But
State Street.
Yeah, State Street. That's right. Did you go to Blackbird Donuts? Blackbird Bakery?
I didn't.
All right, you got to put that on your list. I'm going to give you a list. You also have to go to Ridgewood Barbecue. It's crazy.
Oh, well, barbecue's in the name. I got to get there.
Yes, this one is nuts. Like, it reminds me of the Soup Nazi episode on Seinfeld. Like, if you order wrong, you just get out. They're not particularly friendly, but it is so good. You're just like, this is worth it.
Awesome.
Oh man, that's exciting. This sounds so fun. This sounds really, really fun.
Well, it is definitely, there's less expenses involved than, owning a place. I mean, I am done owning a home and living in it. If I own a home, I'm going to be renting the thing out, because just dealing with maintenance and things like that. And the problem is, I was running into that same issue with this poorly built RV trailer. Mm-hmm. I'm building the conversion van, so I know how strong it's going to be. There'll still be issues.
Yeah, there's always some.
I just need to declutter, right? Remove the things that are on your mind, like, is this going to break? Or I got to pay this bill, and just remove that.
Yeah.
And just feels like you can breathe, and you can do a lot more at that point.
Yeah. Oh man. So I'm picturing you driving all over the place. I mean, a lot of road time. Mm-hmm. For me, I get I got the idea for Idlewild Woods in the car. Like, the download happened in the car. Like, I'm driving and I'm taking notes without looking. I filled up about, half a notebook on this. Are you getting like fantastic ideas, or is it like on your road time, or is that something more like, do you go outside to get road time? Like, where are your best ideas coming from?
Well, I would say that there's, definitely while I'm on the road for, 10 hours straight, I like music. So I am blaring the heck out of music and loving that. But then there are times when I'm kind of paying attention, but listening to YouTube videos to learn.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where I'm just like trying to think through things. But I would say that, another spot where I tend to just be free to think about other things is when I'm riding my bike. So I like to ride my bike on the road, And I'll be honest with you, though, it can't be a hammer fest, because if it's a hammer fest, all I'm thinking about is breathing. That's it.
Just survive. Right?
Right. So if it's a more casual ride, I get an opportunity to kind of spin ideas through my head and things like that. And it's actually been really nice here, because you step outside, you see nothing but stars everywhere. And it's just calming.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's and it's getting to the good time of the year right now where you're not like,
I know, my God. It's been well over 100 for months here in Austin, and we're in the 90s.
Oh, it's a cold front practically here now.
Yeah.
Man. Carey, what drives you?
I took some notes on this, and so I think I've had this figured out multiple times. I'm like, oh, that wasn't it. And then think about it. Oh, that's it. No, that's not it. So I think where I've ended is I had all these ideas of what I wanted when I was working full time in technology. And looking back at it, I can see now how much I really hated it, how it was not meaningful at all. But sometimes it does take a while to figure out the things that you really love. I mean, you can like a lot of things. So for me, what drives me is being able to do the things that I love. And so some of those things include building something, right? Building an audience, building a brand. Building something is gratifying to me. And the other passions are pretty specific: road cycling, racing cars, and EDM music.
Oh, so all right. They kind of go together. I can totally see this.
All I need to start doing now is DJing out of my van, and it'll be complete at that point.
Hey, Carey Rouse. I love it. Now, do you get speeding tickets driving with EDM on?
Well, I'm a very good driver, but in the RV trailer, you don't dare go over 65. Yeah. And now in the van, I'll go faster. But, when I had the Mustang, I was careful. I also have like the best radar detector you can buy. And I have all these stickers that I've been building up over the years of my support for police organizations.
PBA.
And it's been helpful.
I hear that if you get a concealed carry permit as well, that's supposed to help.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
If you get pulled over, you hand that over with your license, and then they see that you've been checked out, and somebody gave you an okay. So.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So where do you see this going? I mean, it's so funny. Like, so I don't know if you've seen the irony. You're trying to take it slow. I mean, you're doing 4 interviews, publishing 4 interviews a week, you're building, you're doing a lot, and this is making incredibly fast progress, but you've also given yourself a year, like, I'm going to do this for the year. You like to go fast. So how are you, making yourself be patient? And
well, I'm going to go really fast for a year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
How long I'm going to do it. I mean, for me, if I'm going to do something, it's like 110%. And a lot of people who are really close to me know that it's literally that way.
Yeah.
And when I make a decision, it's going to happen tomorrow, today. It's not going to be a week from now, a month from now. Like, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
So there are times when I've done some things that were off the cuff, but you know what? It took me a while to figure out it wasn't the right thing. I don't know how I could have figured out it wasn't going to be the right thing unless I did it.
Yeah.
So just getting out there, trying to experiment with what you think really makes you happy and what you can continue to do. But I mean, for me, everything I'm doing now is I try to do it warp speed, but I'm not going to really evaluate the result of that until I've done it for a year.
That's really smart. I think you've cracked the code. So you got, and I'm gonna guess if you've ever taken the Colby that you're a quick start like me, probably. Are you Colby?
You know what? I might be, but I also have a crappy memory, so I have like no idea what any of those things. I can't remember what I am in any of those things. Right. But
start. That's that. I love it. You've cracked the code. You've cracked the nut as far as like how to go all out, but also not end up being like chasing all the rabbits, like I'm doing this for a year. I'm going to go, balls to the wall. This is the thing. I'm doing this for the whole year and it's going to be great and crazy and very productive. And I'm not making decisions about I'm not going to evaluate it really for you. Yeah. I think that's really smart because it takes about that long to really know, do you still love it? Is this working? Are you gathering traction? How are you going to determine, what are some questions that you're going to look at as you evaluate, all right, is there a year or two?
I'd like to be able to approach folks in the racing community who have businesses. And if they see my audience and are like, I'd like to get in front of your audience. To me, that's like, man, if you could just pay for my bills, you don't understand how great this would be. And so that's another thing too, is I have eliminated almost every expense, the way that I eat, everything. So there's a lot of things I've given up. Like I do not go out to eat. Mm-hmm. I don't need to do that. I stopped drinking last year. And, I'm kind of, I say I'm isolating myself. I've got a great family here that I see and hang out with. But, none of my friends are around, but I want to do this. This is what I wanted. I spent all those years partying and just trying to make money to do the next thing for the weekend. And that's it. Like I'm thinking much more long-term now. Like, I have a spreadsheet that budgets it out does my budget for the next 3 years to know, when do I go negative? When is that going to happen? And what do I need to decrease in my expenses to push that runway out a little bit longer? So I'm constantly doing that. And, part of this was I had a little bit of money to start with, but I can understand how someone listening would be like, well, wait a minute. I have to have money to pay my bills because I don't have any kind of savings. Yeah. And I would tell those folks, yep, you have to work to pay your bills because you don't have the extra money right now. But keep working, right? And keep saving. Make sure you're budgeting correctly so that you can step back and say, look, if I cut this expense and this expense, I could do whatever I wanted for a year, 2 years, 3 years. And what would it be like to do just what you want to do? And that's what I am trying to do right now. I'm trying to do just what I want to do. And I feel like the outcome, there's already been a bunch of positive things that have come out of it that I would have never expected. And people I've met, the relationships I've made, that's just going to continue and it's going to snowball.
I think that's really cool. That's solid advice. Obviously, you got to have cash to pay for your life, but down the road, it's easy enough or feasible, let's say, possible to create something that ends up with other people paying for your lifestyle because they love what you're doing and what you're creating, and it's helping them. I love info businesses. This is basically, this is what that is. You're creating a content thing. You're gathering an audience. You're sharing what they love. They're learning from it. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, the only complaint right now is because I'm so avid at filming and editing and uploading, I am crippled right now. The internet speed here is nothing.
Oh, true.
And I'm like, oh my God, it takes 2 hours to load a 2-minute video. And I'm like, I can't deal with that. And I definitely can't produce longer videos, which is what I like to do. So there's a balance. We'll figure out how to get it faster. But right now, just doing what I can to get some content out.
I think that's really, really exciting and so cool. I can't wait to see where this goes. This is going to be amazing, man.
I don't know where it's going to go either.
Yeah. It's just, it's like you're on an open road that's unmapped. That's so cool. I love it. Oh man. All right. Let's talk a little bit about, like, what do you do if you're out in nature? So you've got your bicycle rides on the, side of the road bike trips. Is that how you put it? Which is fantastic. Are there things that you can do? Like, do you do that daily, or is there something, you've got your stars outside and, where do you kind of get that juice from that just keeps you kind of going, and that peace, all the stuff that outdoors time does for you? What's your favorite thing?
Probably riding my bike super early in the morning because,
okay.
And as I've changed a location, this is still a new location for me. I've got to figure out safe ways to do it.
Yeah.
But I like to get up around 4, and as soon as I can get on the bike and try to get in 25, 30 miles, get home, shower, watch the sun come up, and think, I have got all that done before some people have even woken up.
For the Army. Isn't that their ad?
I don't know, but it makes me feel good. I mean, it starts my day off feeling accomplished that I've done something. And, I got to go to bed earlier. But other than that,
what time are you in bed by now?
I'm not getting up at 4 at the moment. So maybe 9 o'clock or something like that. But
the 4 a.m., I mean, you got to back that into 8, 7.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock.
That's good. Oh, wait a minute. In Austin, it's still a little bit light at 8 too.
It is, so that's why I've been kind of waiting at about 9 to hit the sack.
There you go. Well, this is going to be so cool. Just in case anybody missed it, where can they find you?
driventocompete.com is the website. And if you put in that search term, Driven to Compete, in YouTube or in any kind of podcast service, you will find me. I will mention this because people may wonder. I got burnt out with the CBD business on posting to Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and Pinterest. I got so sick of it. I deleted my accounts. And I don't even have the apps on my phone anymore. So I can't stand working with those companies because I can't tell you the number of people I've talked to who are like, yeah, my account's frozen for something strange and I can't figure out how to get a hold of somebody to unfreeze it. So you're just dependent on that. Now, granted, something like that could happen on YouTube if you're not careful. But I am only on. You're not going to, I have a profile, but I don't even have the app open. But yeah, so the web page is really static information. It's just going to point you to either YouTube or my podcast.
That works. It's good. It's so funny. It's like, it's easy enough to follow everybody says you should do this and do this and do that, and it's very easy to get completely overwhelmed with, this, and like you said, those sites can disappear you pretty easily. So I think it's great. You're staying in your lane. You find, here are the platforms I'm willing to go play on and doing it. That's cool. Well, I'm excited. Will you come back and tell me, at some point you're going
to... I'd love to.
Oh, good. Because I'm like, this is a story. Like, I've started a story now. I need to see the rest. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I've actually met, I may meet in person, a couple from Canada who have converted a semi truck and trailer into their home on wheels. And so now I'm friends with them, and they're thinking about taking a trip down to Texas. Oh, by the way, I'll give you a link. But in about 3 weeks, I'm going to give away a day at a track in a race car with a professional private race instructor.
Wow.
So people just have to basically give me their email.
Nice.
And I have a landing page that they can go to, and I will share that with you, and you can put it maybe in a description or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I totally will. That's great. Oh, man, that's awesome. People pay a lot of money for that fantasy of I drove on a racetrack. That's This is something like everybody wants to do that, right? I mean,
yeah, and you get a pro coach too. That's the thing you don't normally get with this stuff.
They're just like, good luck.
Yeah, like, good luck, or you're going to sit in the car while I drive.
Right.
So yeah, it's just something I'm doing to try to help collect emails. Obviously, I do send out a weekly email, and it is primarily just what's going on for me. I don't have anything to sell right now. So it's just telling the story of what's happening sometimes. And I always have links back to the videos that I have. So I can kind of generate some more views that way, but also share some videos with my folks that are email folks in case they want to check out some videos.
Smart. I love how you're doing this. This is cool. But now I got to know, what's the fastest you've driven?
It was actually on the street. I was in a 2003 or 2004 Cobra. The last year they made a Cobra SVT for Ford. I had one, and I was driving from Austin to Houston on I-10, and I got to 156.
Wow. And no ticket?
No.
Good. I love it.
I would love to go a lot faster than that, but it's going to have to be on a track in a car that is not the normal car that I race. The normal car that I race, it's going to max out with the tailwind at like 112.
Okay.
So, eventually, my whole goal on this is really to find a way to pay for my bills. And I want to be able to turn the notch up just a little bit, maybe not a little bit, turn it up a lot on my bills, where I can eventually race in amateur races there's a race every single weekend someplace in this nation, and usually multiple ones. And a lot of people race in different leagues and different classes. Yeah. That's what I would do. Like, when I thought about what would I do with the rest of my life, travel someplace and spend it on the beach? No. Yeah. I want to be in a race car, racing on a track every weekend, and I could do that for a very long time.
I love it.
So that's where I want all this to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're engineering this amazing life. That's so cool. And it's like, here's the early stages where it's building, and I can totally see you doing that. That's going to be...
I'm not going to run out of money. I'm telling you, I'm not going to run out of money. But I am prepared to do whatever I have to if I'm running out of money. But keep my expenses low and extend this runway as long as possible and just push as hard as I can. And I think good things will happen.
I love it. All right. Now, next time you're out at Bristol, maybe we'll have someplace built and you can come sleep there.
Yeah, I would love that. That's awesome.
Like 45 minutes down the road or up the road.
Are you north or south of it?
We're south of Bristol. We'll be in Greenville.
Okay.
So just outside of north of Knoxville and Sevierville, but south of Bristol. So 45 minutes up 81.
All right.
All right.